Welcome back for another video. Some wildcards active this week, in this week's experts video, lots to discuss as we look ahead to a Saturday deadline for Game Week 3. In this series, we look at data from hundreds of top all-time FPL managers to help guide your season. If you're not subscribed, check out the animation when you hit the subscribe button. In fact, on that note, before we get into it, I want to say a massive thank you for 200,000 subscribers. We hit the milestone just after yesterday's video. And honestly, never in a million years expected such growth. And whether you're a long-time subscriber or only just joined, thanks for the support. I love making FPL content and hopefully it shows in every upload. Let's kick off with the manager highlight, and Oscar's held on to the top spot with a score of 77 points, which has got him at 13k overall right now, despite no Haaland last game week. Did you manage to beat the experts' average score of 79 points in Game Week 2? The biggest score last week was Jim Caldwell, who got 107 points, which took him up to 17k overall. So this week, 38% are rolling the transfer. Some of them have picked their teams very well and they're still yet to make a transfer this season even. Others have been spending all of them. 41% are making one transfer, 17% making two, one manager's making 3 transfers. 3% of the experts have got their wildcard active this week as well. And we've got one of their wildcard teams to dig into later in this video. Let's have a look at the most popular players they're buying and selling first. Somewhat predictably, the most popular transfer in this week is Rodgers, who's their clear favourite and Kunku replacement. After failing to make it to 60 minutes in Game Week 1 and a benching in Game Week 2, they're cutting their losses now. Perhaps something we overlooked looking back in hindsight was Chelsea's ambition in the transfer market with so many rivals, plus the fact that they play midweek in the opening couple of game weeks to try and qualify for Europa Conference League. Particularly Europa, which always carries that risk of Chelsea assets playing midweek as well, and Nkunku's not the type of player right now you'd expect to play every match. Nonetheless, Rodgers has emerged at just the right time with an upcoming fixture run of Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich, Man United, Fulham and Bournemouth. It's worth noting that Villa are also going to be juggling midweek football as the Champions League starts imminently for them. But Rodgers does have better fitness with back-to-back 90 minutes Game Week 1 and 2. Early impressions that Maresca's still figuring out his best 11 as well, and we could see more rotation. Whereas Emery's not the type to rotate much, and he clearly loves Rodgers, and it is low risk for 5 mil. He's been passing the eye test, and it's not surprising 31% have picked him up this week. It also frees up 1.5 mil, or if you're only buying today, 1.3 mil. Smith Rowe's their next most popular replacement, 8% have bought him. Now, Solanke wasn't spotted in Tottenham's training footage. We should get a clear update from Postecoglou on Friday. 7% have bought Watkins though, 5% João Pedro as replacements. Although he started the season slowly, Watkins has got an absolute ton of promise with those upcoming fixtures, and 3% are selling Isak for him. It might be sensible to give Isak another week. He's played Spurs home twice before and he scored a brace in both games. In fact, Newcastle won those games on a combined scoreline of 10-1. And Mbumo's been picked up by 4%, and a killer combination on a wildcard, or if you can get those free transfers, is Mbumo and João Pedro. You get Mbumo home to Southampton this week, and then he's got Man City and Spurs away, where you've got the option to bench him for João Pedro, who's home to Ipswich and Forest. And from Game Week 6, Mbumo's a set and forget starter. And if Tony leaves by the deadline, his appeal goes up significantly, as he'll be on penalty duties, and he also takes set pieces for them. I came across an interesting stat from Bakar. He's played 35 games with Tony before, 12 returns, 3.37 points per game on average with Tony. He's played 25 games without Tony, 23 returns, 6.56 points per game. A clear difference when he's the main man rather than with Tony. A big dilemma we're all facing this week is which premiums to back. 3% have bought Salah, 7% have bought Palmer. Trying to time the right time to own these premiums can often backfire. And perhaps the best strategy is to pick your premiums and just leave them in and focus on the rest of your team. Let us know in the comments which premiums you've got and if you're looking to change any around. That all said, one expert's going aggressive and swapping Haaland and Nkunku for Watkins and Salah this week, which does make some sense despite the hat-trick, but it's one of those again that could backfire. You've got to have a lot of conviction to make a move like that, but being brave in FPL can reap rewards. Let's move on to chip usage. 3% have wildcarded this week, 96% have still got theirs, no free hits used and 2% have bench boosted, 12% triple captain Haaland last week. We're seeing more chip experimentation this season because of less double game weeks to come. It's easier to make the case for using a bench boost or a triple captain in a single game week, and we've seen it successfully pulled off among these guys already. The triple captain's easier to justify, but with the bench boost you really have to be sure that all 15 players will play. So Alex has activated his wildcard this week. He's got top 1k and top 10k finishes to his name, and his team is Flecken and Ramsdale as his keepers. In defence he's got Hard Bellis, Trent, Konsa, Robertson and Fast. In midfield Rodgers, Saka, Jota, Palmer and Smith Rowe, and up front Haaland, Watkins and Canham. Now Ramsdale's completed a switch to Southampton in case you missed it, and he has fallen to 4.4 mil. Here's what Alex had to say. In the past 5 seasons I've used my wildcard between game weeks 2 and 5. I've always seen it as an opportunity to get on the front foot and essentially have my ideal team for the longest time possible, as opposed to holding the wildcard for as long as possible as some other FPL players do. I typically start the season well, and I feel like this is a big reason why. And with being able to roll more transfers this year, the wildcard chip feels slightly less special than previous seasons. Looking at my actual team, my goalkeeper rotation is dependent on the Ramsdale transfer being confirmed, or at least looking extremely likely by Saturday morning. Brentford and Southampton's fixtures rotate beautifully. I had been tempted by Martinez at 5 mil and just having a 4 mil non-starter as backup, but as it currently stands I've got 3 other Villa players. In defence there's slightly less value here, but I'm very happy with Trent, Constant and Robertson with the upcoming run of games. The midfield 5 speaks for itself. No Salah does concern me, but you can't have everyone, and Jota playing as a hopefully consistent starter is just too good value for money to ignore. I've already owned Rodgers for the first 2 game weeks, and it feels like his returns are just around the corner. Up front, I just can't not own Haaland. Watkins has got a great run of fixtures, and whilst he should have scored in game week 2, that's just the type of player he is. He does miss good chances, but he'll get plenty of other opportunities. The bench is quite weak, no doubt, but at least there are 2 regular starters, and the formal defenders do have some reasonable fixtures on the horizon if I ever have to play them. Best of luck with the wildcard, Alex. Thanks for sending in. Let's have a look at game week 3 captaincy next. This week Haaland remains on top. He's got 81% of the vote, and then it's Saka with 9%, and then Palmer and Salah with 5% each. So how come Saka's more popular than Salah here? Pulling up the projected goals graphic from Rob TFPL, this shows that this week Arsenal and Man City's games are joint highest with 2.45 projected goals, Liverpool 2.1. It is also a home fixture for Arsenal, though Brighton have impressed in the first 2 game weeks and might not be an easy game. Now FPL review projections are neck and neck this week. Haaland, Palmer and Saka all tied on 6.8 points currently, Salah's on 6. So it is one to think about if you've got the Saka and Salah combo, or maybe Palmer. Arsenal have got the early kickoff, so you're going to know by 2:30 PM if that was a good decision. Liverpool have got the last game of the game week. That all said, Salah's got an immense record against Man United in recent years. 11 goals and 4 assists in his last 9 league meetings. He hasn't blanked at Old Trafford since the 2018-19 season in fact, including all cup games. Let us know in the comments who your captain is this week. Let's move on to the Experts template team for game week 3. It's Henderson in goal, it's Trent, Pedro Porro and Robertson at the back, Rodgers, Saka, Eze, Jota, Smith Rowe midfield, and then it's Haaland and Isak up top. A bench dilemma this week with Valdemar and Muniz, Hall and Barco. It's hard to pick anyone from the starting 11 you'd bench from Muniz, though he does have Ipswich. We'll probably see him drop out of the team next week for João Pedro potentially, as they look to target that Ipswich fixture that Brighton are going to have themselves. Now Eze's been a very unlucky pick so far, maybe he'd be the one, but he's taken 12 shots, which is most in the league, 3 more than Haaland even. And it's pretty telling that not a single expert was selling him this week. They're very happy to be patient with him, even if it means taking a price drop on the chin. Experts' ownership percentages here from last week, and we'll see Isak drop below 100% this game week. Haaland 91% owned, Trent 70% owned, Jota 67% owned. And Nkunku drops out of the team this week in favour of Rodgers. Barco is still in the template team, owned by 56%. Unless you don't have a start in defence, he's a very low priority sell at 4 mil, as his price is locked for the season now anyway. It's going to be very interesting to see if Saka drops out when he's got Spurs and Man City, with Palmer a possible incoming replacement, especially if he hauls again this week. On to the experts' final thoughts and tips for Game Week 3, here's what they had to say. FPL Rubber Ducky says, I don't normally make early free transfers, but I made my 2 on Monday due to the extremely aggressive start to FPL this season and volatility in prices. Haaland looking like a better captaincy option than Salah in my opinion, as Liverpool have got more chance of points spreading around the team, unlike Man City where it's all about Haaland. Aaron Morley says, a lot of people will be transferring Nkunku out this week and rightly so. The question is who to bring in. Don't be afraid to take a hit. I'm bringing in Palmer and transferring Isak out for João Pedro to make it work. They both have some very good fixtures coming up. An aggressive approach to transfers can help save your wildcard until later on in the season. The Doc FPL says, roll in 5 free transfers they said. FPL Poker Player says, wildcard activated due to owning Nkunku, Solanke, Barco and Hall, plus good runs for Villa, Chelsea and Liverpool. I started fairly well in the first 2 game weeks and I want to keep the momentum going by being proactive. I typically try to hold the wildcard longer, but sometimes its use just feels right. I think there's an opportunity to take on Haaland for a few game weeks with a big midfield. FPL Fish says, the pricing this year is so good. I want so many players that I can't get to. Good players will score lots of points and you won't be able to have them all. Don't let it get to you when players go big that you don't own. Players on tilt won't be making good decisions. And lastly, Munpal Man says, Nkunku's a fraud. Thanks for watching, and if this was helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss future videos. See you soon for the next one.